What's up, everybody? Continuing with our podcast, DownLO. You already know I gotta, represent my son Tyson Lowe's logo. It's me, Mike.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of On the Down Low. Just like Mike said, I'm Molly. We are coming in at our second episode now, and I feel like we're finally getting into the groove of things. Yeah?
Yeah. I would say yeah.
Yeah. So, one of the episodes that we will be talking about, which I think I would love if you are watching this and if you are also a Hmong parent who has a really active child in competitive sports where they do want to hopefully make it one day. That's one of the episodes that Mike and I want to record on is talking about just being Hmong parents in today's generation when it comes to what this looks like for our kids. But that's not for today's topic. So I just wanted to set you guys up on that in case you're like, why are you guys rocking this t-shirt? It says Tyson Bison on it, which is our, we have 3 kids. Our middle, Tyson, is 12, right? He's 12?
Just turned 12 December. So.
Yeah. He will make it. He will make it to the, first off, he's going to be a Badger. That's the first thing.
We'll see. I don't know. He might go to Oregon and come back and shit on the Badgers. I don't know. He likes Oregon too. So
yeah. Well. Anyway, that's again not for this topic. However, it really does. It's a wonderful kickoff though to today's topic. So you want to introduce what we were going to talk about today?
So today, one thing I think we're just going to talk about how different we. Grew up on 2 different sides of the city and, like just from beliefs to, like household and, things like that. Big difference as, we've talked about growing up and how different things were.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what? One of the things that Mike and I want to be very clear on is this is not to judge. This is simply sharing our experiences of growing up specifically here in the Milwaukee area. And the other thing I want to call out is we are very much Democrats. We are liberals. We swing all the fuck to the left. Okay, so we're gonna just tell you that right out in the open. And the reason why I think it's important for us to talk a little bit about where we stand insofar as politics is because if you did not know, Milwaukee continues to be one of the most segregated cities in America. Look it up if you don't believe me. And I feel like going back to the way that you and I were raised, it was very clear and abundant that that was the case, right? So for example, my parents, when we moved down to the Milwaukee area, my dad was first generation college graduate and he got his very first job at a graphic designer in a printing company. So he moved our family down from the Eau Claire area down to the Milwaukee area. And the very first place we lived was Cudahy. The home that my parents purchased that I grew up with from 4th grade until just a few years ago. When did Mom and Dad leave? Like 3-4 years ago when they sold the house?
To go up north?
Yeah. It's been a minute. It has been a minute. But long story short, I got married in that house, all of that stuff, okay? We were in Franklin. So to say that I came across other Hmong kids in Milwaukee or in Franklin was actually really rare. Where did you grow up?
So I grew up I remember when my parents first came to the US, they landed in Denver, Colorado. So that's where my parents are now. But after that, we came to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And I remember, I think the first house or area was around like, was it Sixth and Brown or down there somewhere, very inner city. Um, you know, I mean, my first friends were probably a lot of African American black kids. So, and then it was just that it was interesting when we would compare and talk about our stories, my story to Molly's stories, and it's just how different it was. But at the end, I think opposites attract. So,
You would say that. You would. I mean, it's not. It's. You're right. You're right. So let's fast forward there because okay. So when you and I started dating,
yep,
do you remember that I had my Accord, right?
yeah,
Do you remember what you said to me when I told you that I had a car? Do you remember what you said?
no,
You said, "Yeah, I'm not surprised. Your dad gets you everything you want."
probably.
Let's talk about why you said that. Why did you come with this mindset of, oh, yeah, I'm a spoiled little girl living in the suburbs and my dad just buys me whatever I want. Why'd you think that?
It wasn't. I mean, I didn't mean it that way, but I think you took it that way.
Okay, so yes, you're right. And here's the thing. Can you explain to them when you first met my parents and you came to our house, what was your impression of our house? Remember you had shared with me when
Yeah, I mean, it was a great experience, meeting a Hmong family in the suburbs. It seemed, everybody was like happy, everybody was, um, it was like a whole family, you know what I mean? Like it was the house was very warm, the atmosphere was very neutral, so and it was very welcoming. They're very welcoming, my first time there. I
yeah,
believe it was Thanksgiving.
yeah. You had said something to me that blew my socks off, and you said when I saw that you guys had a computer in your. Do you remember when you said that?
Hmm.
Share a little bit more about what you meant by that. Why
Well,
did you say
because
that?
in my household, we didn't have a computer. Shit, I don't think we ever had one until I was probably, no, I don't think we even had a computer. We never had a computer. We never had a computer, and we had an old typewriter, my dad's old typewriter, the big ass suitcase, and we would click each letter, and that's how we would print. If we needed to print anything for school, we would type it up that way. That's how it was. And even our lawnmower, we didn't have a gas lawnmower until later in life. Like me and my brothers and my sisters and my dad was using those fucking scissor ones, those fucking ones that spin and it's got the shears in between. Yeah, that's the shit that we're using for a
And
long time.
to be honest, I didn't even know that they made lawnmowers like that.
Oh yeah.
I from a very young age have always seen my dad work on a computer. No, I mean, listen, y'all. We're talking the 90s, okay, where it's still the real big chunky clunky desktops. And the thing is because my dad was a graphic designer, he always had a Mac. We had once, I think, a PC, and I didn't even know how to turn that sucker on because I was like, I'm so used to my dad, having us learn how to use a Mac that I didn't even know. So when you had said that to me, I'm like, what do you mean by that? What do you mean? You said, yeah, it's when I saw that like computer in your room, you said something like, oh dang, like
Oh, yeah.
they're different or something like
Hmm.
that. No, something like that. Is that what
Yeah.
you said? Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Which I grew up again just exposed to very different things, and I feel like it did. One of the things that I am just so appreciative of my parents is that let's be real. Like I hate saying, "Oh, these people are poor." I don't I think poor, the word poor is such a subjective word. I think that there's what we call a poverty line, and even the poverty line itself needs to be revised, but that's not for today's TED Talk. I am a very social justice centric person, but that's not what our conversation is. I know that my parents, like, we didn't do extravagant vacations or anything like that. But in comparison to what Mike would share with me, like these conversations that we would have of like, oh wait, you never went and did that. Like you never
No,
went and did this.
I didn't fly in a plane until I believe I was, I want to say 17. No, I want to say I was probably like 19.
And you went by yourself, right? Or was it for your grandpa's funeral?
No,
Wasn't it?
I flew to Colorado.
Oh, okay. It's so interesting to hear the way that we grew up so different. Like my parents, for us, I'm the eldest of five, and me and my siblings would ride our bikes around the neighborhood, but it was like nowhere far. We literally just rode to the local school, played at the playground, came back. How?
Oh my God. I mean, like, we used to fucking ride whatever bike we found all over Milwaukee. I mean, whatever store we wanted to go to, me and my cousins that we grew up, man, we were like, hey, let's go. We would take it all the way to like Brookfield. I'd ride all the way to the south side. I mean, like, that's how I got places. I mean, I would walk every now and then, but other than that, yeah, we would always ride our bikes.
I would never be caught dead doing that. My parents would, oh, never would they ever let me and my siblings out that far, ever. So when Mike and I first started dating, and then when we got married, and of course we started having deeper conversations about how we were, brought up, I was just mind blown. I was mind blown. He would talk nostalgic with my kids about, yeah, this is the corner store that I used to go and buy, right? Bags of chips were this much, and I'd get my honey buns over there, and I'd get me my cherry pies or whatever, right?
Yep.
I don't know what he was talking about. We didn't have corner stores in Franklin, in the burbs, like that. It wasn't like that. It wasn't like that. We don't ride our bikes to go get nothing like that.
Oh yeah. I mean, corner stores, and those were the days.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say though, so fast forward to us getting married, I will say that I do think there was a little friction on just our decisions in understanding each other when it came to the way that we were raised, right? So for example, for me, my family was always the type that's like, yung kaya chi that you got kapayuho na, like you chi kosingitsi in that way. We definitely, again, I would not say that we were swimming in, financial abundance and riches. However, my dad, I loved that. That's one of the things that my dad and my mom really did well, was to help us with our money mindset on, we would have like, sure, we wouldn't go out to eat all the time, but if we wanted crab legs, my mom and my dad would make sure that we went to Sam's Club to go and grab crab, and we would have that for dinner. We did go out to eat, we that was one of the things that my parents felt like was a splurge on. I felt like for you, when you and I got married, it took, or especially when we were dating, all of the different restaurants that I would take you to.
I mean,
even that was a new experience for you.
For sure. I mean, growing up for me, McDonald's was eating out. You know what I'm saying? Like McDonald's was like eating out. What else? I mean, I remember going with my mom to this like wholesale place on like Clybourne and grabbing like boxes of juice and shit like that. And then I remember because we were on food stamps. My grandma and I would walk because we actually got out of the Brown Street area, moved out to 51st in Lisbon, 51st and Wright. And me and my grandma would walk to Uptown. I think it was Uptown. Yeah, Uptown on 51st and North Avenue. And I would go, she would go buy her groceries there. And I remember like, her buying these Cornish hens. That was like her go-to Cornish hens. And yeah, I grew up eating fucking noodles and eggs. Like that was my go-to. I perfect making noodles.
That's the one thing, okay, like real talk, my mom, okay, so my dad's favorite way of eating mò, okay, because again, của Doan có mông lành đó, okay, có mông vàng, có mông lành, cú nào ha cú chỉ ít chữ nhà nó, mót cứu. So yeah, at a really young age, my mom taught me how to dấu ra trông ra biki be or not you mo no. We had a rice cooker, but we barely used it because my dad didn't like that kind of rice. Okay, my parents very rarely would buy ramen for us. Like ipomina, that was a treat for us. My parents, they didn't like it. They felt like it was full of sodium. It was bad for your health. We barely ever had it. And even when we did have it, my mom would more shy because that is not something that she wanted us as kids to grow up on. So it was more for like my dad to take to work. And we knew that. Like we knew that if we saw ipomina, that was for dad. That was for his lunch. And every once in a while, my mom would let us eat it. Him on the other hand, it was like every day.
Yeah, every day.
Right?
Every
like
day.
What did you say after you guys came home from school?
Oh yeah, I mean that was after school. That was the go-to. Yep, cook your noodles, eat, and then go play outside.
And I cannot make a pack of noodles to save my life, y'all. I put too much water. I don't put enough water in there. I don't know how to put all of the little like, I didn't know how to put eggs in it like how Mike does. Like Mike makes it perfect. Even today, my kids will not ask me to make noodles. My kids know how to make a pack of noodles better than I do because they eat noodles like they do with Mike. Not on a daily like how Mike was when he grew up, but for sure, that is like my kids are Mike no kiss. Let's just say that. They will kill that box of ramen. And that's just how they grew up. Yeah. I mean, that's how you grew up and that's what they learned. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, when you know how to cook it and it tastes good and you know how to do things to it, so when we do have it, they do go through it pretty quick.
I never get a pack of ramen ever. Yeah. It's like trying to fight Mike and the kids for just to save a pack of ramen for me. It never happens. On that note, though, I will say I never knew what Aldi's was until I met Mike. I had no clue what an Aldi's was ever.
Aldi's is a go-to.
I didn't know. It's one of our favorite places to shop for groceries now. But again, here in Franklin, there was no Aldi's that we were aware of, especially when I was younger. Or maybe it was, but my mom never shopped there. Ours was always Pick and Save. Pick and Save and Walmart and Sam's Club. And then Talamong, those were the places that we went to go buy groceries. I didn't know no Aldi's. Like I didn't even know what that was. I didn't know what that was. So how do you think?
They have the best hot wings.
I knew you were
hands
gonna
down.
say that.
I'm telling you, they got the best hot wings. You just put that shit in the air fryer and eat it on top of some rice. Oh my god.
So
it's not good for you though.
So what response do you have when your side of the family be like, look,
I mean, I don't know why that becomes a factor, like between, even when we do events back in the day, it would be like, oh man, y'all live too far and yada this, yada that. I'm like, I come to you guys shit. Like, I don't complain about y'all living far. It is what it is, but there's definitely a lot of pros to living a little further away and having, like that privacy away from all the bullshit. And like, it's honestly, I like it because it's like people forget about you. People don't think about you as much, and you can have your privacy. You can be away from all the BS and really just focus on you and your family, you know?
Well, yeah, I will say that you know what they say, right? What is it? Out of sight, out of mind. That's exactly that. But that's not the reason
Yeah,
why
that's not the
though.
intention.
That's not the reason why we decided to. And I'm gonna be straight up honest with you. When Mike and I first got married, he was assuming that we were just gonna live on the north side too. Like that. That's what he knew, right?
Yeah, yep. I told her, I said, we just buy a nice house on the north side and live there. But like as you go on in marriage, right? You realize there's only two. The only people that's going to help you is going to be your side or your in-law side. That's all there is to it, and it's the truth. So with my parents living in Colorado, I wanted to live closer to my in-laws. That's going to help watch my kids. Like that's the best thing you can ask for, right? For your own people, your own family to watch your kids, because daycare's all fucked up nowadays. You don't trust people there. So I chose to live closer to this part of town, knowing that it's gonna, it's gonna save us so much time and money for babysitting, daycare, and they're gonna still be in a household where, they're gonna learn how to be Hmong and how to, like do the daily things and the cultural things. So I was cool with that.
Yeah, and I think now too, fast forward to today, where our kids are much older, with Madden going into high school next year, Tyson being so active in competitive sports as a middle schooler. One of the things that we love specifically about the South Milwaukee School District that we have seen, obviously no school district is perfect, but the thing that I love most about our school district is they really prioritize the experiences for our kids. For Madden, now that he's going into freshman year next year, we got the chance to already see his full 4 years of what his trajectory would look like. If he wanted to start deciding that he wanted to go down the business and entrepreneurial route, these were all of the courses that he was able to do. I love that South Milwaukee has apprenticeships that he can sign up for that not only pays him like a paycheck, gives him real work experience, but also as school credit. I love that. One of the things that they also do in the summer is they have a program in the summertime for middle schoolers to try out trades. So you can go and you can learn welding. You can understand electricians. You can follow and understand what a plumber does to help you decide what you want to be when you grow up. Like we didn't have none of that.
I mean, we probably should have, because then I wouldn't be taking double lunches and shit. You know what I'm saying? I used to take 2 lunches at high school.
Oh my God.
Hey, I tell my kids my stories. They're like, "Damn, Dad, how'd you do that?"
But like fast forward to today though, I think God really knew that us being over here created more school opportunities. And I think that that's the thing that, again, if I were to say, my parents did a really good job at was giving us access to a good education. And we didn't have to depend on the 220 program to get us out here. You were 220.
Yeah, I was the 220 program, so I lived in the north side of Milwaukee and rode the yellow bus every day to Cudahy from grade school all the way to my, I left Cudahy junior year, that time. And then I went to 2 MPS schools. And damn, there's a big difference because shit, Washington was crazy. Washington High School was crazy as fuck.
Yeah, but then you didn't take that into consideration when you wanted to be a dad and you wanted like.
No, I mean, so the other thing is education. Like what I realized with Molly's growing up was education was very, very, talked about, was very, introduced to them every day. I mean, for me growing up, education was there, but it was more like you got a roof over your head, you got food, you're good. You know what I mean? That type of shit. So it was a little bit different. That's why now we use a lot of our experience to help teach our kids to be, different from us.
Well, on that note, I feel like him and we butt heads sometimes in a good way, in the sense that my parents straight up were way too strict with school. I mean, if we got a C, that meant that we were sitting there with my parents, well, with my mom sitting there, but my dad lecturing us for hours about the importance of school. And we were terrified.
Yeah.
Even though it was just progress reports, which meant that it really wasn't like official. I feel like my parents put so much emphasis on school that we were terrified. Now, mind you, if I was not as good at school and my parents weren't on my ass about that, I would not have gotten the opportunities that I did to go to Madison on a full ride and all of that stuff, right? I'm not dismissing that. However, in today, you have to admit, for our kids, Mike is so much more harder on them on school. I'm a little bit more easier.
Hey,
I'm like,
the reason is because my parents were too lenient. Okay.
so now we're like
Look,
opposites.
this is what I used to do. I used to take the yellow bus to Cudahy, get right off the yellow bus, jump right on the school bus, and go to Aladdin's Castle. Y'all remember Aladdin's Castles, right?
Yes.
That shit was a spot. So I'd be sitting at Aladdin's Castle all day until it's time to jump on the bus, go back to the school, and get back on the yellow bus to go home. So that was me. That shit was tight though. That shit. Hey, I don't regret none of that shit I did. Okay, it was an experience, but it's the experience that's gonna teach me to teach my kids and to catch them fools if they trying to do some stupid shit like that.
I would never be caught dead. Like, even for senior skip day, I never did senior skip day. I never did that. Because I knew my parents would be on my ass. I would get a new ball hole ripped in me.
I never fucking seen senior year because I never made it to senior year.
It's true.
So
that's true.
you know what's funny is that like me and Molly actually went to the same school when we were in second, third grade?
Oh my God.
Third or fourth grade?
Yeah.
Second or third. It was Parkview Elementary, and then it's crazy how we come back and meet each other,
That's what they say. If you guys, of course, if you're like me and Mike and you're all over TikTok, it's called the red threads or red string theory or something like that, where they talk about how your soulmate, you only meet them when it's the right time to meet them. And the crazy thing is, he's a November birthday. I'm a June birthday. So I was a grade higher than he was. But we had the same recess.
Mm-hmm.
And we never crossed paths.
I probably hit you with the football a couple times.
And I guarantee you, I'd number one be crying. And then number two, I was that girl who loved daydreaming. So you would find me on the swing by myself. I mean, I loved having friends, but I loved my me time. Or you would find me on the grass staring up at the clouds because I love daydreaming. And that was like my thing that I did when I was younger. So I do
remember when I got on the yellow bus that I did remember seeing Asian people there. So I'm like, oh my God, there's Asian people over there. So I don't know. It might have been her family.
Probably was. Because I remember when we had our school concert, my parents, so I have a picture where my dad had me all dressed up in my my concert clothes, right? And he put me up on a tree in the front yard of the elementary school. Mm-hmm. And I remember my parents saying, oh, there's other Asians here. That's what they said. It was probably your parents.
Of course it was my parents. Who else is it? It's only me and you that are Hmong at that school.
Which is so crazy. So listen, y'all, today was much more of just a get to know us kind of episode. I hope that you found this entertaining and nostalgic as well. Continue to tune in. As always, we're going to continue doing these weekly for you. That's our commitment. And yeah, let us know what topics you guys would like to hear from us. Of course, always open to suggestions. Until next time, we'll see you next week. Bye.